Hello and welcome to episode 217 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. There's a lot to talk about in the world of Wednesday this week. We've already done this intro once, but the internet just decided to freeze and I watched Jake's frozen face for about 2 minutes. So we're going to start the podcast as we always do, Jake, with how has your week been? And something I heard very briefly about your conjunctivitis son.
Yes, so basically, our little boy has started nursery. Yay, I get a break. But he's done 3 sessions and got a cold and conjunctivitis already. He woke up this morning with like half his eye shut, and he just looked at us like trying to go, this isn't right. And he just kept on going to the eyelid to try and pull it open and just couldn't. And it was just really confusing for him. But it's a weird one because, you know, as soon as you get your kids into that kind of environment, you're ready to bring everything home. But it probably for the best because it starts building up their immune system for all that kind of germs and stuff that come back. But not ideal when you've already paid the bill, like. But I'm also doing a little bit of DIY. I've got a fence that's a bit knackered and wood is stupidly expensive at the minute. So I'm just putting like a bamboo screen across it for now until I can get it properly done, take it down and start again. It's the only problem with wooden fencing. If you don't maintain it enough and look after it, it dies and dies quickly.
Yeah, it does.
It's really annoying that that's the situation I'm in with it. And I've also got a shed full of wood that I can't get rid of or give to anyone. I tried every bonfire night. I try and give it to someone and they won't take it. So I think it's gonna just be a case of hire a skip, lob it all in there, and then start again. Because
not burn it off yourself.
I can, but round here they're tightening up what you can burn and what you can't burn.
All right, okay.
Which I do have a little fire pit which I could lob it all in. I think if I did it into like enough pieces and stuff, and like actually had a day of helping shift the wood while someone cut it. Because last thing we want is me using something as a cutting in.
Yeah, actually, that's a bad idea. Don't set the whole street on fire.
Yeah, exactly. But apart from that, everything's been going good. World of Wednesday, just mad, which I thought it was going to be. I say every year I might get a little break. I got that completely wrong yet again. But apart from that, it's been good. Just slowly picking up stuff. Got addicted to Call of Duty again. Even though it's trash. Activision need to hang their head in shame with how they're killing that franchise now.
It's never going to change, mate.
Oh, no.
It's never going to change.
No, it's never going to change.
Like,
but
Black Ops was quite good when it came out, and then it just got very stale very quickly.
Yeah.
And then the grief has started coming in and it just wasn't fun.
See, it's why I won't buy it anymore. I pay for the Game Pass. I get it for free. That's it. I'm not going to buy it because it's not worth the 60 quid. Can you
60,
imagine,
mate? It's going to be 80 in the summer.
I'm going to say, can you imagine
in the October even?
Being someone that buys
70,
that for like 100 quid? And that's your game.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
You know what really daft?
I realised how much the pound doesn't hold up when we went to Italy compared to the euro nowadays. Like,
yeah, it's not great, is it?
It's not ideal. No.
The thing is,
I guess the good thing when you're out there is things are fairly low, like euros, but the actual conversion isn't great.
I looked at Mafia's Old Country and I was shocked that the deluxe version of that is only 55 quid. So that getting
single player experience, like some companies are still holding on to it, sort of thing. Like I've just started playing that Claire Obscure literally today. And I think that looks great. It's very weird. The main character looks a bit like me when I was 23. His sister has got the same name as my sister. And his girlfriend is called Sophie. I was like, this is very weird.
Are you very, very much freaked out with that game now?
Yeah, from the start. But yeah, that was...
How's your week been,
It looks good. In terms of my week, yeah, back at work. Obviously, after the trips and the likes. Work's work. That's literally all I've been doing this week because we last saw each other. Was it Saturday?
Last Saturday, yeah.
Me and Me and my mate have jumped into Ark Survival Ascended quite a lot. We've been doing that for about a month now. I've not really talked about that. We're in a bit of downtime. We've gone on one of the PvE servers. We're not doing PvP because that's just, it's already hard enough when you've got to fight over dinosaurs. But I like base building. I like that sort of thing. And me and him have finally found our sort of rhythm with it, building up a base and doing stuff like that. I mean, feel free to jump on with us at some point if you feel like you could. You can join our tribe, Jake, as it's called. But no, that's just quite therapeutic. Doing quite a lot of the building, doing that sort of stuff.
You ever done
in terms of gaming in that front? I have been doing a bit of writing. I've had to kind of put it on. I plan to do a lot of writing between like the Italy trip and stuff like that, but it's kind of paused at the minute. But I am trying to get back to it. Keeping an eye on voice acting things again. As I always used to. I need to stop saying as well, by the way. When did we let that become just enter our vernacular?
I don't know, but it's something that's been there for a while. And the problem when you do video or podcast stuff, you pick up on it even more. Like I actually got recommended recently some of my old videos and I watched them back and I was like, Jesus Christ, I should have done a counter. And I just in the corner of how bad it was, like in terms of just it's where your brain can't catch up. It's some sort of psychological thing apparently where your brain is still trying to think of the words but need to fill the air.
I also think because we've got noise gates on, you do sound a bit psychotic if you think about your words fully and you don't fill the air.
Yes.
But I'm going to try and make more of a conscious effort to do that.
Yeah.
But
sense.
I might sound like AI. That is the one side effect of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Ah!
What happened?
I did an air again.
I think
I was just thinking about it the other day because I didn't used to speak like that.
Oh, see, you started a podcast for me. It's my fault.
Yeah. It happens.
I think
It's just been a normal week, mate, to be honest.
Yeah.
Getting back to the work side of it. Trying to ignore a lot of what's been going on with Wednesday. And I think today's going to be quite a controversial topic, to be honest, when we get into the main topic of it, because there's a lot of vitriol around this. And I feel like I'm probably going to say a little bit more than I have been saying.
Yeah.
Which is always a bit dangerous in itself. But we'll get there before all of that. But yeah, what were you about to say? Sorry.
I think the thing I got a minute like this is, shall I tell you why it's been a really weird week? My mum's had a knee surgery.
All right, okay.
And she's only just got back home today and I haven't seen her yet. But it's like, it's the first time I've seen my parent look really frail. Like, my mum has a habit of like wearing a lot of makeup to make her seem like she's not old. And while she'd been there, she's had no makeup, so it felt really weird seeing a photograph of her. But she's had knee surgery, everything's gone fine. It's just now getting all the the logistics side of it, because most parents, it would be like, right, your kids are going to come look after you. It's a bit different for my mum because she's an adult carer for my adult disabled brother, so we've got to put all that lot in place.
How old's your mum?
70s.
Right, yeah. So
we've got to start.
It is a bit. I've had that with my dad, seeing like certain frailties when he's had surgery or something like that, and you do kind of have that. Oh,
yeah,
that's weird seeing that.
Yeah, it's odd. So
it's still as annoying as ever if you're listening, Dad. So that doesn't go away. But it does exist.
Yeah, it just was that really weird thing where I was like, and it's weird because where most of my family are based still in Doncaster. I'm in Sheffield. For me to go and visit,
condolences.
How do you think I got out?
I used to gig there. It's an interesting place.
Only decent place that was giggable with Vintage and the Leopard. The rest of them were questionable. Woolpack was okay.
I did both of those, but Vintage were tight. They never paid their acts. Nope. The Leopard did.
Yeah.
The Leopard did pay us.
The Woolpack
I used to quite like Social. I used to play
Yes.
social a few times. That was quite nice.
Well, the Woolpack was
Don't know if
good
this-
because it was actually ran by musicians at one point. So they actually
Yeah.
paid, and they had a very good sound system. And I only know it was a damn good sound system because one of the people who was helped running it, he got one of the sound guys who were doing download at the time to come and just redo the entire pub sound system in an evening. So it would be like,
yeah, I remember
really
that
good.
actually. Yeah, I remember that. The talk of that happening. We never actually played there. My mate did in one of his bands, but we never did play that one.
Yeah, it
But,
was,
yeah, no, I actually quite like this sort of Doncaster strip, so to speak. The night out strip, if you know what I mean by
I
that.
know what you
You know
mean.
exactly what I mean by that. That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
So I'm probably being a bit harsh on Doncaster there, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Probably-
all right. It's all right.
It got its areas, the places to like stay away from if they put a O on the end, like Rosso and Edlow. It got an O on the end, stay away from it.
It's probably better than Rotherham, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm just annoying everybody now. But yeah, I live in the Northeast now. You see your own parts of it in the Northeast.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's
You see it everywhere.
it's just a different vibe. Yeah, you do. God, where I grew up now is an absolute crap hole. Every time I go back, I'm just like, oh, that's another vape shop. That's another thing closed down.
Oh, here's another
it's-
Turkish barbers. Here's another betting shop.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's not fun.
dear me.
It-
Lots of things are changing in this country, aren't they?
Yep.
I've kind of tried to step fully away from politics if people
To
have been
be
watching
fair,
me for a long time
I've
because it's just an
taken
absolute
away-
crap show.
I've literally gone up steps away from the news in general. All I've been doing this week is winding Jack up by calling him Pope or no Pope. Because
I've tried to start watching the news rather than just looking on Twitter because Twitter is very selective of what it puts out. And it's just such a cesspit of,
used to
and
be
don't get
good.
me wrong, from both sides of the political spectrum, it's selective information. It's just depressing, man.
Yeah.
I think Twitter is designed to depress you now.
Mm.
And I don't like it. Whereas I've always quite liked YouTube. We used to have a few arses on here. A few people have been blocked. We don't block every arse that comes into this comment section, lo and behold. But I actually find if I've got more of a Twitter view on here, I
Yeah.
get pushback from our community. And I don't
Yeah.
mind that, to be fair. Because it just shows the different spectrums of people in different places.
I think the thing is, it's about just making sure that you're open to having a dialogue and a discussion. It's when it goes all personal or they just don't listen, so you just walk away from the conversation.
Exactly.
I think that's
Right,
the
we're
way
going
to
to
do
get
it.
into the news, Jake. I'm actually going to, after this podcast, I'm going to format the podcast differently over the summer. I've not talked to the team about how I'm going to do it, but I have a
No, he hasn't.
plan to do it. So this is what everyone's talking about. I believe this is from Sport Witness. Okay, I know you've put a different article in there, but
Yeah.
I actually got this the day it went out
Yeah.
from the original source. So from Sport Witness, this reads as follows: very excited. Sheffield Wednesday manager Danny Röhl drops exit hints. Premier League dream, but Bundesliga fine too. This was on the 7th of May, 2025. On Tuesday, we covered claims from the German media which talked of widespread and growing interest in Sheffield Wednesday manager Danny Röhl. Crystal Palace, Fulham, Leicester City and Southampton were all pushed forward as options for the Championship manager, with the first two entirely dependent on their successful managers being poached this summer. Röhl has also been linked with Bundesliga clubs, and there's many claims in recent weeks that is not such a leap to say it looks like it's been encouraged by the manager's camp. Perhaps that hasn't had the desired impact yet, because he's now given an interview to RB Live. The Sheffield Wednesday manager began his coaching career with RB Leipzig, and the German side is one of the ones he's been linked to recently. As part of the interview, Röhl explained how great the fans are that he's found it in Yorkshire and expressed his frustration at Sheffield Wednesday's outside chance promotion hopes drifting away as the season went on. Röhl clearly believes they've been unfortunate and used XG as an example. Quote, we actually had an excellent starting position until match day 40. Then this phase came along, which is why it's such a what-if season. Unfortunately, despite our excellent XG figures, the pendulum has always swung a bit in the other direction. We've had 4 late defeats in stoppage time, end quote. That was a bitter experience, explained the manager. Ask what his future holds and links to RB Leipzig, the manager said, quote, I've always said that I'm very grateful to Sheffield for the opportunity. Danny!
I did the same thing when I covered it.
Sheffield!
Oh, you went a bit
For the opportunity I've been given there. And I'm someone who always wants to develop the club further. And to do that, you have to weigh up how far that's still possible, or whether the maximum has perhaps already been reached under the current conditions, end quote. Then asked if he'd accept a return to the Bundesliga if the opportunity was offered to him, the reply was, quote, I always want to work with the best players and compete with the best coaches. The Bundesliga is, of course, a top choice. After all, I grew up with the Bundesliga. But the Premier League is also a dream. I'm currently very excited to see what happens this summer, end quote. RB Live pressed a little further and asked how the Sheffield Wednesday boss, if a move to a top European club like RB Leipzig would be the right step for him this summer, given it'd be a big jump from the second division football. Quote, if both sides are convinced you're the right coach, then there's nothing wrong with taking a step to a Champions League club. I may have only been a head coach for just under 2 years, but I have been involved with football for a total of 16 years. As an assistant coach in Leipzig, Munich and the German Football Association, I've had the privilege of coaching great players, winning the Champions League, coaching at a World Cup, and experiencing a Premier League relegation battle with Southampton. That's a package that gives me a lot of confidence that I'm ready for any challenge, as long as both sides are convinced of each other, end quote. That can be safely described as a come and get me plea from Danny Röhl.
Yeah.
That's what the actual article says as well.
It's very odd for a manager who's under contract currently putting himself in the shop window when he's not.
Jake, can I just go first on this one?
Yeah, go for it.
Before what you see, because you can counter it. It's disrespectful. Like, we've given him a lot of leeway here. And by the way, 2 things can still exist. You can still want DC out and not be a massive fan of DC and push back against DC and understand why a manager could feel like this. But you can also say it's really unprofessional going and sort of flirting with any club that'll have you in a higher division because you're not happy with the situation. He's doing a power move, and I'm not a fan, Jake. But no. Please say your piece.
My thing is, this could backfire quite badly for him because you do not want to get into a reputation in the eyes of other clubs that the moment something doesn't go your way or the way you want it, the first thing you're going to do is go to the media and go speak to people. Because they want to
and that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, and they want to know that you trust that he can do stuff. Have an interview with the place. Do other things. Go away. Who are calling me? Have an interview with the people. Talk to people.
Danny's camp saying, "Do you know of any offers in the Premier League?"
Yeah, talk, but also remember to being linked with Fulham, Leicester, RB Leipzig is fantastic, but at the moment I'm currently contracted to Sheffield Wednesday Football Club and I'm excited to see what I might be able to do there. I'm very flattered and we'll see what happens in the future. Something that, for a man who's actually quite media trained, this is very ill-advised from whatever advice.
He knows what he's doing, Jake. That's the thing. He knows what he's doing here because he knows what to say and what not to say. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because Chansiri was equally as unprofessional in that fans forum in the middle of the season. I could understand why Danny would be in a mood from that, but also he has let that affect his game. He has let that affect his demeanor. I have heard a lot of things about Danny Röhl's character that I am not going to go fully into here. I would advise you to go and look under the Twitter hashtag because I don't want to be done for libel. I have heard for some people I consider good sources and some people I'm quite friendly with in general that his character can be questioned given the type of person he can be at times, right? I think this might be the mask slipping of professionalism, and I think you are starting to see more and more come out, Jake, and I think you might see more come out if this goes the way it's looking like.
Yeah. And I think
but I'm not going to say too much more on that in this. I think you can read between the lines, really, especially if you go and have a look at Twitter, guys, to be honest. But it's a case of, in the specific question here, he's not got a leg to stand on. He's now being fully unprofessional, in my opinion. He's acting like anyone can just take him.
Well, it gets worse later on in one of the other articles as well. We got.
Yeah. Which one do you want me to read next?
Do the next one underneath the one we've just done, which is from today, because he did a podcast with Kicker.
Right. So this is the Danny Röhl claim refuted by Sheffield Wednesday's exit talk continues from the Star, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so the article reads as follows. Sheffield Wednesday manager Danny Röhl has once again spoken about his potential exit from the club this summer and has again cited a return to Germany as a possible destination. Last year, the Owls boss signed a fresh contract to take him to summer of 2027 at Hillsborough, but has spoken in a number of press engagements both towards the end and after a turbulent season, suggesting his desire to leave the club. An interview published by RB Leipzig's blog RB Live earlier this week has stated he was very excited at the prospect of new opportunities this summer and seems to suggest he was open to taking on the vacant job at the Red Bull Arena. Now, on a German-language podcast hosted by renowned media outlet Kicker, Röhl has reiterated a consideration to working in the Bundesliga sooner rather than later, and also said that he and the Wednesday chairman, Deshvan Chansiri, had a, quote, clear agreement about how I envision my future, end quote. The pair have shared a difficult relationship during Röhl's time with the club. Quote, personally, I had a fantastic time at Sheffield Wednesday, he said, in quotes translated from German. Quote, I've made no secret of the fact I'd like to work at the highest possible level with the best players in the near future. And the Bundesliga is, of course, a consideration. And yet, I also know getting the final nod requires good work, the right people who believe in you, and timing. Quote, if all of that comes together, I might have the chance to return to the Bundesliga in the summer or to return to the Bundesliga right away. But it could go in a completely different direction. End quote. The former Bayern Munich... well, no, we'll carry on the quote. Quote, my situation in Sheffield... is I know he's saying in Sheffield here, so not at Sheffield. My situation in Sheffield is unofficially relatively clear. There's a clear agreement with the owner about how I envision my future. Unfortunately, I can't go into detail about that right now. End quote. Jake, this is just not getting better. Unofficial agreement, how he envisions his future.
Yep.
Does pay the release clause, because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm aware, Jake, that 5 million release clause ain't going anywhere.
No. The thing
it shouldn't.
And also, you've also got the end here. The Star also got in touch with Wednesday that if we can confirm there is no such agreement in place, Danny Röhl remains under contract with Sheffield Wednesday. This is going to get very, very messy. Quickly,
and so
it already has. And the thing is, if Danny goes back to Germany, I'm all okay with that because he have mentioned he's missed his wife and kids. If it means he gets to spend more time with his kids and stuff like that, but this isn't the way you go about it.
But he's also talking out both sides of his face because of the way he's doing it. Because he's down, he's looking like he's down in tools. He's throwing his toys out the pram now. Look, we are aware of a conversation that he had because it's been quoted in previous articles that he has told the owner at Sheffield Wednesday exactly what he wants if he is going to stay on here. We have heard that from him, but we've also heard a lot of talking out of both sides of his face, haven't we? We've heard him say, oh, I'm very happy to be blah, 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 this club, while he's allegedly been flirting with other clubs anyway. So it's a case of you're going to lose a lot of goodwill here going out this way.
He's already lost a lot of the goodwill. If you look at social media, a lot of it's already gone. A lot of them are like, well, if this is what's going to happen and this is what you're saying. But the whole thing, you knew what you were signing when you signed last summer. You knew what you were getting involved with. And I think that's something where it's a little bit difficult. And granted, hindsight 2020, so you can't predict in Danny's eye that the whole situation, players not being paid or the HMRC bill. But the thing is, if you have said you have said repeatedly, it's a short, medium and long-term project. But it looks like you got to the short-term project, not got to the Premier League straight away and gone, right, I'm off.
Yeah, it's just been completely disrespectful.
It like you said earlier, you can be DC out, but you can also hate this situation as well. And the problem is...
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people on the other side of it aren't getting. I have said before, I understand why Danny would be frustrated working under DC, right? I get that. But the way this looks, if you step back from it, the more and more the way this looks, and I did have this feeling even when I was backing him in January, Andy will be happy because he's been saying this all along, and I did get what Andy was saying. Danny threw his toys out of the pram when he wasn't allowed to go to Southampton at first bat.
Yeah.
Right? And because of that, ever since then, I think his mind has been elsewhere. And you're seeing that this summer. He signed that contract, probably with some assurances of more backing, etc. like that. Thought maybe he did have the team overachieving. I am not going to detract from what Danny has done, but the way he is disrespecting us as a club at the minute is, for me, you just don't say anything. You don't go and tout. The fact that he's publicly touting himself is just a bad look in it. What would you want Chansiri to do in this situation in terms of Danny Röhl? Do you want him to cut the losses, lower the release clause? Would you want him to put him on gardening leave? What would you want to happen here if this is going to be an exit?
I would like DC to do what QPR did with their manager. They put him straight on gardening leave the moment he started talking to other clubs. I think that's the good thing, and you do it that way. I don't think we will, but that's what I do. Would be, right, you're on gardening leave, blah, blah, blah. You've got 2 years. You're going to see out the remaining of that contract unless someone's going to pay us for what we want for you, and you're on gardening leave. Because the thing is, even if I don't see Danny coming back for the summer, but say he does, how the hell does he get that respect back from the players, that respect back from the chairman, that respect back from the fans? Because he said, oh, it'll be great to work with better coaches, better players. Well, you've thrown your players and your coaches under the bus, kind of thing. It's a really bad look when you've been saying for a while that you want to build something. And I understand working with DC isn't easy. It cannot be easy. But at the same time, I feel like we've done this before. We're back. I feel like we're just about to get an announcement saying Lee Bullen is going to be the assistant manager because Steve Bruce is gone. It's that level.
Can we afford to chuck Danny Röhl on gardening leave is the question as well.
I don't think we could.
I think the only way that works is if we can keep the dynamic. You know what actually I would like to see? If we're not going to get taken over, because of the way he's going, obviously it could still get resolved. So a resolution that benefits all parties would be the best way forward. I've got to say that. But given everything I've heard, it doesn't seem like it's going to go that way. Stick him on gardening leave, promote Pedersen, keep everything else in place. We're paying the same wages, but you're not then. We might pay Pedersen a bit more to be the manager, but we're not bringing in somebody else. And then Danny Röhl can sit and rot for 2 years.
See, I
am petty, all right? I value my club more than the owner, more than the manager. I value this club.
No, I get that narrative. The thing is, I've always had a little sneaky feeling that Pedersen came in to be the replacement for Danny if he went or if it didn't work, because we took a manager to go take an assistant head coach role. Yeah. That doesn't add up to me. Why would you go not be a manager and go be an assistant head? Does that make sense? It's always felt like that the way of doing it. And Pedersen moved the family over, kind of thing. And he wasn't on a full contract. His contract ended this year, like at the end of this one. And the thing is, the other thing we got at the moment, the staff who are around him don't have deals. Their deals are out.
No, that's the side of it, which is why I'm thinking you don't let him go. Unless they pay $5 million, then yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm all for him going if somebody matches the release clause. I'm not saying that. Like, match the release clause, he goes.
Yeah.
That's the deal. That's what was put in place.
That's why there's a release clause.
Yeah. But if there's talks of, I know before, I was talking about potentially lowering the release clause, etc., and things like that, but that was based on professionalism and gentlemen's agreements and things like that. Danny's thrown his toys out the pram. That's gone out the window. So for me, it's a case of I would gardening leave him, promote him in that way, and then if someone pays it, they can do that. But if you do negotiate and you let him go and you try and cut your losses, the problem is, because the other people aren't under contract, he can take whoever he wants with him.
Yeah.
And we lose out more.
Yeah.
So I would get all your ducks in a row in that regard.
Would you have it that you have sat down with all the people who are out of contract? They're on signed new contract. Danny doesn't know, and you're like, right, go then. Oh, I'm taking him. You can't. He's under contract. Is that part of like your petty way of doing
that's
it?
what I do. Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
I would be sitting down with everybody else but Danny Röhl right now.
Yeah.
That might not be the easiest situation because they will have some loyalty there, but it's football.
Yeah.
Who's shown loyalty to the, I would one of my main focuses on the playing side would be also to get Baz tied down and look at bringing Baz into the back room and keeping him around the club. I don't want to lose him. I want him to be a Bullen at this club, what Bullen was. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a player that understands the identity of this club and will be involved with it. So I really want us to focus in the areas of the loyalty that's been shown. Like, there's other managers available as well. Don't get me, they don't necessarily always suit this style, but there will be other managers available. The ideal thing for me is Chansiri does all this whilst talking about a takeover. And obviously there's lots of talks about takeovers at the minute. There's what's that guy that Simon Jordan keeps talking about?
The
Turkey Ali.
Yeah,
I'm going to butcher that. Yeah. So there's that sort of money talked about here, and we can talk about all of that if it ever sort of materializes. There's the American consortiums. Do people come in, buy the club? Danny Röhl's on gardening leave. They can then make a decision what to do. They can bring in a sporting director. They can bring in their own managers. There's options there, There's lots of things that could happen in this summer, but I don't think we can be dictated to by a manager, and I don't think Chansiri will. Where I'm going to back Chansiri, actually, even though I'm not happy with his ownership, and I've got to still put that out there, he's not going to roll over after what happened with Bruce. If Danny leaves, I could see Danny leaving and breaking contract. He'll go for him.
There's no winners here. There's just losers. The people who lose out are the fan club. We're sat here scratching our backside going, what do we do again? We have to start again. So we have to start an entire situation. The only reason why I kind of want Pedersen to stay, it keeps that continuity going. You keep something
that's what makes
there.
sense to me. You gardening leave role and you put Pedersen in place.
The problem is I don't think we can afford to garden leave. So it's either going to come down to DC and Danny have a conversation where, similar to what he had with Darren Moore, had the conversation, they come to a mutual agreement, we're not going to agree, and it end. Or someone going to have to come and get that release clause. Like,
why can't we garden and leave it, Jake, if everybody else is still in place? This is what I'm saying.
It all depends on how much.
We're not bringing somebody else in to replace Danny Röhl. Pedersen's getting promoted with maybe a bit more money, with the look to being like maybe there's a clause in his contract where when Danny's contract goes up, it rockets sort of thing, his wages, whatever. Pedersen's in place for that. Maybe Pedersen's called the interim manager and he's just a long-term interim manager, name manager, whatever. Danny Röhl's placed on gardening leave until somebody comes and matches it. But we're not bringing in another manager. And if we don't bring in another manager using that system, that's how I think you gardening leave him, because your outgoings will be similar anyway because you're still paying Danny Röhl's wage.
Yeah.
But you're not bringing in another manager and then having to pay double manager wages, if you get me.
No, I get what you mean. The thing is, you look at... I don't mind if it's a Bundesliga club. What will annoy me if it's a championship club, because the only reason you are going to the other club is because they're into probably money.
It will annoy me in that respect again, but the only way it goes for me is a £5 million release clause. Pay the money.
Yep.
They pay the money, they pay the money.
Yeah.
We've got our assets, most of our assets, our younger assets at least, under good contracts now. We're learning in that regard.
Yeah.
There's still massive draw to this club. There will always be massive draw to this club. Like, we'll do an episode probably soon on managers. Like we can do that, Jake. We can put that in there. Yeah. We've got a lot more freedom over summer. We can do that while all this is going on. I might even post this tonight, actually. We're recording this Friday morning. It was going to go out on Saturday. But to be honest, I should probably get these as close as possible to recording, because the news cycle is just
going so fast,
churning, isn't it? So, yeah.
It's the whole situation with it all. You want to say, yeah, DC's done the right thing while putting a relief clause for a manager who's very hungry. And let's just remember, when Steve Bruce came in, we got $6 million for him and his backroom staff. DC doesn't mess around with things like this. We've seen that. We have seen that when it comes to manager. He will not mess around with it. He will get what he wants out of this. And on that sense, yes, it's good, but it cannot disrupt the preparation for the new season. Because now...
can't. That's the thing that needs to be happening. And I think it must be going on. There is teams behind the scenes that are doing all of this, and we are in the situation where it's usually quite quiet at this point in May for us. We won't hear anything until towards the end of the month, where we start to hear murmurs and transfer murmurs, and I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But I just don't feel comfortable with Danny Röhl talking about, he's not seen his family, he's going to go back to Germany. Yeah, he's probably gone back to Germany, his family, and the first thing he's done is gone on podcasts and start talking himself
the quote Danny
out
said
there.
Was at 6:30 p.m. and just after the Watford, I will be sat on an aircraft, and around midnight I will arrive home. My kids will be asleep. I will go in their room. I will say hello. In the morning, I will get up, go for a run around the lake, and I will enjoy the next few days without preparation, without looking at video. All these things, I will turn my phone off, or I will try. I'm not sure if I can do that for too long. That's what he said.
Lying again. I have got these podcasts booked in. As soon as I land, I'm going to be talking up all the clubs and saying, "Come and get me, please." Yeah. Not a fan, Jake.
No.
This side of me doesn't come out much on the podcast anymore, by the way. This is literally what I built my channel on, getting annoyed at people.
Yep.
The Steve Bruce saga. It's happening again, Jake.
It's happening again. It's deja vu all over again. Annoyingly.
What a way to lose good faith as well. Because even when I heard things about his character, I tried to look at the professionalism side and the football side, and I tried to separate both, because I hadn't experienced that firsthand. And even though people I respected had, I was like, you know what? I can look at this in two ways, and I can split this, and I can talk about the football side. But his character is now showing that he's just whining. And I don't like it.
No. And I think for me, it puts us in that really stupid situation, like when we came up from League One, with so many players out of contract, and then in that position, because it was just after the playoff final, we had it all come out with Darren, and it feels like this is happening again, but a little bit early, because we finished and we'd had nothing to play for in the end at the last game of the season. The only saving grace, if they're quick enough, things can get sorted and we can put it behind us and we can move on to the next bit. But once the line's been drawn, it needs to be drawn and done.
Yeah.
It can't be
Yeah.
another one of these summers where we have a million different statements saying this is why I've done X, Y, and Z. We can see why. This is the one time again. The time when Chancery's had the club, I have felt extremely sorry for the bloke with things like this. Steve Bruce comes to mind. Vic comes to mind. You can understand why
all the fans were behind him with the Steve Bruce thing. By the way, that's what I will say in that.
And I think most will be behind him with this because of how everything's coming out. If Danny had kept his gob shut and it was like, we've had the release clause hit. But I got told, why can't Danny come out and say it and say the things that have happened? But he's not saying what's happened. That's the thing. He's not saying anything behind the scenes that's happened.
And Darren Moore didn't immediately either. And Darren Moore obviously didn't go into it too much. So there is something there with Chancery. We're not defending Chancery here. There's something there. It's just, again, the two things can exist. Yeah. I'm not happy with the way the manager of our football club that is contracted until 2027 is currently conducting himself and disregarding the fact that there is an entire fan base that is wondering what the hell is going on.
Let's put it this way. If you went on a podcast, say I'm interviewing you and you're in a job right now and you're saying, I want to go to this job here and this job here and that job, and then get back to your job, they're going to pull you in and go, what's this all about?
Mm.
They're going to be asking
That's
why.
tempting sometimes, Jake. I'm joking, employers, of course.
But you know what I mean? They're going to pull you in and go, why are you not come to us to talk about it? Or how come you've not done this? It's like, it's very difficult for you to, right now, this is what really frustrates me. Right now, the podcast, we should be sitting here going, we finished 12th, so much better than last season. We have a style of play. Let's look forward to the next season and have a plan and have a bit of stability. We can't do that now.
No.
And we probably have, we
and
can
it's not even been a week.
We could probably even say we haven't been able to do that since December. But privately, me and you have been messaging, going, we both out, he's not here at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't feel like it.
Well, we've even sort of hinted, we even said it on the podcast. I've said that I don't think Danny will be here at the end of the season. No. I just didn't expect it to go this route. I thought it would have been done privately. But I think with the Southampton thing, I think the interest is he's realised he's just an option. He's not necessarily the main target anymore.
All I will say to Danny is managers and clubs will see what you're doing, and you may rub some of them up the wrong way because they might be like, if I don't get this right with you, are you going to go to XY media source and say XY has said this? There was a big thing with Manchester United where players will go out and just say, I don't like this about it, to people in the media. Now, if they think it's the manager doing it and openly doing it, you will have some clubs who are like, that puts me off a little bit because you might not have said anything to the point or discuss what it is, but they won't like the idea that you're bringing it all out in public and saying, well, I didn't get this player, but I wanted this player. You know what I mean? It's some clubs.
I think the reason he's taking the gamble on it, he's taking on the gamble on Chancery's reputation. And I think, unfortunately, this is why we also need new ownership, because Chancery doesn't have much reputation left in the game. So he's got a bit more leeway in terms of that with other clubs because they know how bad Chancery can be.
Yep.
And that's the problem. That's what makes the whole club as a whole in a bigger mess, Jake.
Yeah. And wait for it, because I can see it in the next, say by the end of the day, someone's going to link them with Bayer Leverkusen.
Why? Because Xavi looks like he's off.
No, they've already said he's released 51 minutes ago after 2.5 years at the club. Most so head coach Danny Röhl will leave Bayern Leverkusen at the end of the season.
Yeah. I didn't see that. There we are. Yeah, maybe it happens. And literally, I'm just refreshing my page, by the way, and literally I'm seeing people talking about Danny Röhl being an actor and stuff like that. So it's coming out.
Yeah.
Coming out. It's all the stuff I was hearing as well. But again, I'm trying to separate his character from what he did on the pitch. And we've done that a lot this, because I don't personally firsthand know his character, and I've been saying this, but like, I have heard things that necessarily shouldn't always affect the football side of it. But when his character, like now, is affecting his professionalism, completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
You know?
You've also got the
and
other
actually, also, he's fantastic. But he really thinks he's fantastic at the minute. His ego's showing a lot in it. Like, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And that's coming from a singer, mate.
Yeah. This is the thing I've got, right? Is that he got 38% win record, which ain't great, but at the same time. But also, one of the other clubs that are not in that list of linked clubs is Rangers. He's been linked with Rangers yesterday. And it's like, and a lot of people are like, is this worth it? Kind of thing. Like, is that the case? It's so bizarre. But they could only happen to us and this fan base and this club.
Tell you what, he can go. Someone put the 5 million thing in. We'll bring in Steve Cooper, play a possession game. Go on.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll do that. Shall we? Sound good?
Yeah, we'll see.
He's available, isn't he?
He is. Is he still on garden leave? Leicester?
I don't think he's on gardening leave because he wasn't. He was sacked, wasn't he?
But we'll find. The thing is, we'll find out whatever happens. Like, there's a lot of good available managers out there if we want to do.
Yep,
but
there's. Should we get Gareth Southgate in? I'm just looking at a list now. So Steve Cooper's there. Gary O'Neill.
I'd take Gary O'Neill.
Sean Dyche.
See, someone says Sean Dyche. I would take Sean Dyche only if it was under a new
Russell
ownership.
Martin.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny.
There's managers out there.
Yeah.
He's great, but I'd rather have a manager that wanted to be here. Let's move on from him.
I think that's the thing we've had, isn't it? It's all about having someone who wants to be here, and you can tell he just doesn't now.
Moving on to Windass, talking about wanting to be here. So he's been very cryptic. He's basically pimping out his documentary, isn't he? All will be revealed, blah, 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 blah. It's looking like he's off. We get it, Windass. We'll see you later. I really do rate him for what he's done at Sheffield Wednesday. Without injuries,
All depends if
he would have probably.
It all depends.
It would have been a completely different story.
If we got an option on him and we take it, he's going to be in the same situation Danny's in. If you want to go,
very true.
Someone will have to pay for you. Now, I do kind of think Joff may have taken the option and he's staying because I don't think you would go on holiday as soon as he has done without knowing your future sorted.
Unless he's off to Paris FC, what the rumour was that everybody was starting to try and be bloody Columbo on the internet, seeing where he was departing from.
Yeah, I did see that. That was funny. We got to be the only fan base who like go saying goodbye, crossing at the border, who just go stupidly insane, going, "Where is he? Where's he gone?"
We're going to do, we'll do a Talking Wednesday. No, we'll probably do a full episode actually with the summer on the out of contract players very soon because the retain list is probably due in a month, usually. Is it?
They gotta be next week, actually, because I think it's the 17th.
We're already mid-May, of course it is, yeah. My timings are completely off.
I think it's 17th of May. They need to have players informed by it all. And
so we will we'll have plenty on that, I'm sure.
I would say probably next week. I want to say it puff. We might already know what's going on. But the thing is, whatever happens now, the one big thing I will say we need to be is all Wednesday, aren't we? And not be divided. Manager come and go.
Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm already seeing people tear themselves to tear each other to shreds.
I've been eating popcorn.
We'll probably have the people coming on and going, "Oh, you just love Chansiri. You're a Chansiri fan. You wouldn't know anything. You love to be victims of Chancery. Anything that clown says, you believe. That's what we're going to get, right? When actually we're just presenting the fact that two things can be true at the same time, Jake.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I can deal with for this week's episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Have you got anything to add before we end?
All I can say is, like, it wouldn't be a Wednesday summer without some stupid, ludicrous situation happening.
That's true. We haven't had any jeopardy in the season in terms of like thinking we're going to get relegated. So we needed some drama in the summer. That had to happen. But guys, thank you very much for joining us this week. Take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
Yeah.